The Intermediate Lifecycle Courses, Service Design, Lesson 14, Design Coordination. Welcome to Lesson 14. In this lesson, we'll look at our final service design process, Design Coordination. This process coordinates all service design activities and processes. We're going to study purpose, objectives, scope and value, policies, principles and basic concepts, process activities and techniques at a high level, triggers, inputs, outputs and interfaces, key performance indicators, and critical success factors, challenges and risks. The information in this lesson relates to the syllabus section SD03. You can use your syllabus document to identify areas in the service design volume for further reading as part of your self-study. We've studied 7 service design processes so far. It's very important to make sure that the processes and design activities are working together and not in isolation. Design coordination makes sure that comprehensive, appropriate designs are produced aligned to the desired business outcomes. Are design activities well coordinated in your organization? The purpose of design coordination is to make sure that the goals and objectives of the service design stage are met. It does this by acting as the single point of coordination for all activities and processes. Design coordination has a number of objectives, which we're going to review now. We'll also add the full list to your study guide for this lesson. The first process objectives are to ensure consistent design across the major aspects of service design, aligned to current and future business requirements, to coordinate design activities across all teams and resources, to plan and coordinate required resources and capabilities, and to produce service design packages. Further process objectives for design coordination include managing quality criteria, requirements, and handover points, making sure all designs conform to strategic and corporate requirements, improving service design processes and activities, providing a common framework of reusable design practices, and monitoring and improving the performance of service design overall. Think about a typical service being designed. Many different teams and processes will be involved. These could be internal resources or external suppliers, or both. If many teams are working on a design, some form of coordination is needed. This will ensure they work in the correct way and produce a joined-up result. Design coordination scope includes all design activity. In most organizations, it will work on new and changed service designs, but also service retirements and sourcing model changes too. This will require the process to work with projects for larger pieces of work and change management for designs that are not associated with a project. Part of the design coordination process scope will include making sure that a design gets the right amount of effort and control. Smaller designs will not need as much coordination as larger ones. Every organization should have a definition for how much resource and coordination different sizes of design require. This will be influenced by many factors, including the size of the organization, volume of change, and service criticality. All changes will require some design effort, but the process is not one size fits all. An effective design coordination process should ultimately mean that changes are more successful. If more changes work first time and meet business outcomes, then the design coordination process is working. The scope of design coordination includes providing guidance to projects and changes about service design activities and processes, maintaining policies, templates, and standard practices, coordinating, prioritizing, and scheduling service design resources, and planning and forecasting resources required to meet future demand. The process scope also includes reviewing, measuring, and improving service design activities and processes, ensuring designs address business requirements, particularly for utility and warranty, and ensuring the production of service designs and SDPs for handover to service transition. There are some areas specifically out of scope for design coordination. The process does not actually carry out service design process activities, it only coordinates them. It is not responsible for designing service solutions or producing individual parts of SDPs, but makes sure that this happens correctly. Time for a quick exercise. Plan to spend 20 minutes on this exercise, and don't forget to check your study guide for a suggested solution. We've discussed the purpose and objectives of design coordination. We've also considered that the process does not actually produce anything, it only coordinates other processes and activities. What value will the process add? Try and think of at least 5 areas of value that will be seen across the service lifecycle. The next area we need to study for design coordination is the policies, principles, and basic concepts related to the process. The guidelines and policies produced by design coordination should support a holistic approach to service design across all projects and processes. The first area of policy related to design coordination will be set by the service provider. This policy dictates which types and sizes of design require design coordination attention. This policy can then be embedded in ways of working, including change models and procedures. For example, all major changes might need individual coordination. Other changes must simply follow set procedures. The level of documentation required also needs to be defined as part of the policies. Not every change requires a full service design package. Some may need to complete a much more basic set of documentation. Staff are much more likely to follow a process if it doesn't introduce unnecessary bureaucracy. Design coordination policies need to include the areas you can see here: adherence to corporate standards and conventions, consideration of governance and regulatory compliance, templates for standard elements, such as communication plans, training plans, documentation plans, and testing plans, criteria for resolving any conflict about service design resources, and standard cost models. Any design coordination policies need to take normal variations into consideration. For example, a training plan for an upgrade to an existing service will have a different level of detail to a training plan for a brand new service, which users have never seen before. The policies need to balance the resources and effort involved against the overall result. The first design coordination principle we need to consider is balance and prioritization. Design coordination needs to use just enough resources and effort for each design. The goal should be to improve the results without introducing unnecessary effort or bureaucracy. This will need to be carefully managed and constantly reviewed to ensure that balance is maintained. The diagram you can see here is the CSI approach. This can be applied to design coordination to maintain the right balance between effort and results. Let's walk through the steps. What is the vision? How would service design be performed if your organization was perfect? Where are we now? How is service design currently performed? Who by? Is it working? Where do we want to be? What needs to be implemented as a priority? Design coordination can really help here by introducing reliable, repeatable service design practices. How do we get there? A plan needs to be developed and executed. Did we get there? Defined metrics are used to measure if improvements were delivered. How do we keep momentum going? Embed new ways of working and look for new improvement opportunities. Why not carry out this exercise for your organization? The second principle for design coordination is integration with project management. Many organizations will already have project management in place and might ask what the difference is between this and design coordination. Design coordination is coordinating across all projects and providing guidance and standard ways of working. Not all project managers understand good design or how design works in that particular organization. Design coordination can support project managers when they are struggling to balance timescales, budgets, resources, and customer expectations. All project managers need to be trained in design coordination principles and understand which templates and procedures they need to use. When all projects work in the same way, coordination across projects will be much simpler. We're going to take a high-level look at the design coordination activities, methods, and techniques. Design coordination needs to understand the life cycle of a design, from requirements through to production of the SDP, in order to work correctly. We're going to take a look at the two categories of design coordination activities. The first type of design coordination activities relates to the overall service design lifecycle stage. This includes the definition of ways of working and coordination across all projects and changes. This work may be carried out by design coordination process managers. The second type of design coordination activity relates to individual designs. These activities ensure that designs conform to standard practices and will meet the desired business outcomes. These activities might be performed by project managers or other stakeholders, with support from design coordination resources. We're moving into our final stages for design coordination. Still to come, we'll study triggers, inputs, outputs, and interfaces, information management, critical success factors and key performance indicators, and challenges and risks. Let's start with the process triggers for design coordination. These include changes in business requirements and services, requests for change, new programs and projects, revision of the overall IT strategy. Can you think of any other triggers you'd see in your organization? Design coordination has many inputs. We're going to study some highlights here, and you'll find a complete list in your study guide. Inputs will include change requests, the IT strategy, governance requirements, program and project schedules, and the change schedule. As a coordinating process, design coordination needs lots of information to carry out its role effectively. The outputs from design coordination include the areas you can see here: service designs and SDPs, revised enterprise architectures and management systems, revised measurement and metric methods, revised processes, service portfolio updates, and updates to change records. Notice how these map to the 5 major aspects of service design. As a coordinating process, design coordination also needs to have good relationships and interfaces with other service management processes. It will also have interfaces with the adjacent lifecycle stages. Service strategy provides information about the IT strategy and service portfolio. Service transition is the recipient of service solutions within service design packages. Let's consider the key process interfaces for design coordination. Service portfolio management provides design coordination with information about business requirements, service charters, and warranty. Change management provides change requests and information about authorized changes. Financial management provides details of the value proposition. Business relationship management helps design coordination to understand the customer's desired outcomes and needs. You can see the next 4 process interfaces here. Strategy management for IT services provides input about current and future service strategy. Release and deployment management manages releases and deployments, so needs to be coordinated with design activities. Transition planning and support receives the SDP. Service validation and testing plans and executes tests to ensure the service will deliver value. The final design coordination process interfaces are change evaluation evaluates designs to make sure they meet the requirements. Service level management helps to define the targets that shape the design. Supplier management helps to ensure any third parties are properly managed as part of the design. And availability, capacity, ITSCM, and security. These processes are all involved in the design and make sure a service meets warranty requirements. We also need to touch on information management for design coordination. The main information produced by this process is the service design package. This can consist of lots of different documents. It should be stored in the Service Knowledge Management System and described by information in the Configuration Management System. Next, we're going to look at some examples of critical success factors and key performance indicators for design coordination. Remember, each organization needs to develop its own measures based on its level of maturity and process aims. Any opportunities for improvement that are identified can be logged in the CSI register. The first possible critical success factor is the production of accurate and consistent SDPs. Key performance indicators could include reduction in SDP revisions, reduction in service rework required later in the life cycle. For the critical success factor, managing conflicting demand for shared resources, key performance indicators could include reduced number of issues caused by conflict, reduced number and percentage of emergency changes submitted by projects, or increased satisfaction with service design activities from project and change staff. The third possible critical success factor is that new or changed services meet customer expectations. This could be measured with key performance indicators including customer satisfaction score for a new or changed service meets or exceeds the defined range, percentage increase in the number of services that meet agreed service targets. Finally, we need to consider process challenges and risks for design coordination. There are three main process challenges: maintaining high-quality designs and SDPs consistently across all areas of the business, ensuring time and resources are dedicated to design activities, and developing design practices that balance effort and results. How would you address these challenges? We also need to consider the design coordination risks. These will include lack of skills and knowledge, lack of business input and involvement, poor direction and strategy, lack of information on business priorities, and poorly defined requirements and outcomes. Further risks could include lack of involvement from project managers and design staff, poor communication, resistance from stakeholders, lack of input from other life cycle stages, and cost-cutting in design, leading to less time and resources being available.